Yep. All set.
Okay. I would like to welcome everybody to our Barrington Municipal Council meeting. It's February the 24th, 2026. And especially want to welcome those who are viewing by home. If you guys noticed tonight that I'm under very good behavior, it's because my mom might be watching tonight. She asked me to queue her up for the live stream. So if I'm more polite than usual, it's because my mother's watching. Okay. So I want to welcome everybody here to this evening's meeting, and we'll start our council meeting tonight with, I'll ask you to rise for a moment of silence. Thank you. Typically, we announce that our meeting is being live streamed tonight. So if anybody does happen to come in, there's nobody here tonight. But if somebody does come in, that our meeting is live streamed, and by anybody's participation or coming into the room, image is likely recorded as well as voice if anyone says anything. So just like to caution people against any unsavory behavior or in the context of our meetings, because they are being live streamed. We'll move on to our agenda. We all have the agenda that's been circulated, so I'll ask for an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Warden Bazinet. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Councillor Nickerson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. That motion has been carried unanimously. And I should point out tonight, our clerk, Debbie Mader, is usually here, but she's away due to a family commitment tonight. We'll move on to any declarations of conflict of interest. Any declarations of conflict of interest? Hearing none, then we'll move on to the fourth item on our agenda. We're moving right along to the approval of the minutes of the January 27, 2026 council meeting. The minutes have been circulated, and I would entertain a motion that we approve those minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Warden Bazinet. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Councillor McKinnon. Any further discussion on those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. That motion has also been carried unanimously. This moves us into the report of the warden. I just have a very brief report tonight. On February the 10th, February the 17th, I attended along with all of you our committee of the whole meetings for the month of February. On Wednesday, February the 18th, I, along with Deputy Warden Bazinet and our CAO, Mr. Fraughton, attended the Shelburne County Mayors, Wardens, Deputy Wardens, and CAOs meeting in Lockport. It was a good discussion. We got into discussions around dog bylaws, and it was quite an interesting discussion that we had there around the table because some local municipalities or towns, municipalities are looking at, revising their dog bylaws. And so it was an interesting conversation. And we may actually revisit our own dog bylaw as a result of that, just to look at some things that may be more current. Other than that, I met this afternoon with the Department of Transportation, TIR, Pamela Mailman-Shand, and I forget the other gentleman's name. Mitchell. Yeah, they were here, and we were able to interact with them about some roads within the municipality. A few roads that were brought up, of course, as the core business district of Barrington was brought up. It was impressed upon them how deplorable the condition of the road is there. And each councillor had an opportunity to speak to other roads within their district. I think Shrove Island was mentioned. I also brought up in my district the McGray Avenue situation, the stunting, the speeding, and the burnouts that are happening on Lower McGray Avenue. So those concerns were raised with those members of TIR, and I'll leave it to each member that may want to bring up what roads were covered in their district in that meeting. I also went this afternoon with a few councillors and our CAO up to the rec center and was given a tour of the rec center. I was quite impressed. It's the first time I've been in there since they actually had the building tight to the weather. And it's quite an impressive space, really. Everything that they've done in there in terms of bringing to, well, greater fruition the completion of the project. But there's still a lot to do. And And I know it will probably come up in the staff report. I'll leave it to Mr. Broughton to, cover, some of the delays and things that are happening there. Other than that, I would just want to say thanks to all the line persons. Often when the power goes out, I'm probably as guilty of anybody else of saying, when is the power going to come back on? But kudos to our lines people, people who work for Nova Scotia Power. They go out in all kinds of weather, as do those who keep the highways cleared of snow. And they don't have an easy job, they have a dangerous job. And so kudos to those who have restored power where it's been restored, and to those who keep our highways cleared at the cost of being away from their families, and also sometimes putting their lives on the line to keep roads open for emergency vehicles and so on. At this time, I will move on. That ends my report. Does anybody have any questions for me in regard to this last month? Hearing none, I'll move on to the report of councillors, and I'll start with Deputy Warden Bazinet and go around. I think Councillor Jekyll, you have the motions coming out of committee tonight, so I'll start with Deputy Warden and go to Councillor McKinnon, Councillor Nickerson, and then we'll let Councillor Jekyll back clean up.
All right, it was a light month. On February 18th, I attended the same 5 units leadership meeting with Mr. Broughton and Warden Hatfield in Lockport. And yes, there will be an agenda item coming up to revisit the bylaw, our dog bylaw here, that I will be submitting. And then otherwise met with Mitchell Conrad and Pamela Melman Shan today with everybody else. I raised the issues around the parking situation at Crow's Neck Beach, as well as the speeding issue in Upper Clyde Road. And in all candor, received a response that suggested that there's not much to be done about either situation and the resident complaints. So that not sure where we'll go from there, but we'll try to figure something out. And then I attended both committee of the whole meetings this month, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Deputy Warden Bazinet. Any questions for the Deputy Warden? Hearing none, I'll go on to Councillor McKinnon.
Okay, at the beginning of the month or at the end of last month, I attended the Joint Police Advisory Board meeting. I also attended the proclamation at the Birchtown Heritage Site. I also attended a number of the lobster crawl events through the month of February. I went to the lobster roll-off, which Captain Cass won third, but they have actually won first place 3 times. So they had to hand over the plaque this time. But they did win first place and People's Choice in the Chowder Showdown out in Birchtown. So congratulations to Captain Katz. I attended the beach run and ran into, almost literally, because she was faster than me, so we passed each other like this. As I plodded along, she definitely ran along for our beach run on Valentine's Day for our Lobster Crawl beach run, and had a chance to connect to her about actually rural connectivity. And she said she had some meetings with Bell and whatnot coming up. And like everyone else, I attended the committee of the whole meetings. And that is it for me in February.
Thank you, Councillor McKinnon. Any questions? Hearing none, Councillor Nickerson.
We do. I attended the committee of the wholes with you guys. I also did attend Lucy's crawling out. Although it wasn't at the causeway, it was at the in front of Captain Katz, and actually, surprisingly, there was a good crowd there, right, for the weather condition and change of venue and stuff. So it was, and it was good. And Susie was concerned of the job she was going to do under the circumstances, but I thought she done a wonderful job there with very little preparation time and stuff. So it's I always like attending the Lucy's predictions. So. And I also had the opportunity to have the Kilted Chef and Pam Wambach and a couple travel media over to the plant and gave them a little tour, and didn't have 20-pound lobster to get our picture done in front of. The Kilted Chef wanted to, but I said the best I can do is 3 pounds. That's what he got. So, and there is something. Oh, I had a few constituent concerns, as always. You always get those calls, and I try to address those the best I can. And it's like Deputy Warden Bazinet said, earlier, that sometimes you get the answers you want, sometimes you don't get the answers you need. So it's tough. We can ask the questions, but it's not always the answers that we want to get. And so I think we do the best we can. So that is, I am forgetting something, but that is it. I know there was another meeting, and something else that I attended.
Thank you.
Oh, I attended the tour of the
right.
rec center with you guys, the 4 counselors or the 3 counselors in our CAO, and I've been through a couple times and had a look, and I can actually say that I do see progress there from time to time. It's not great, but I can see the progress there over the last since January. I do see progress there now, and I'm sure we're still challenged with getting people there and the contractors there to do the work, and it's just a challenge. And I guess the easy way to say it will open when it opens, and we'll be happy when it does open. And I think the community will be it's a building that everybody's going to be most everybody is going to be proud of.
Okay. Councillor Jekyll, you can offer a short report. Did anybody have any questions for Councillor Nickerson? Hearing none, Councillor Jekyll will give a report and is also going to share with us the report coming out of our committee of the whole meetings.
Thank you. I did attend early today with you together with the public work regarding all the roads issues, and what is all the road issues, and starting from Barrington to Woods Harbor to a different area. I again for the people who live on Station Road in Shag Harbor, I raised that question again to them, and they said they try to do something, but hoping that they're gonna do something for the safety of the people up there. And I attend the other committee of the whole, so the rest of the councilors here. And I'll be shoveling snow almost every. It was a heavy winter this year, and that's we tasted this year, so it was bad. Anyway, hopefully spring's gonna be around the corner, and we're gonna enjoy the summer soon. That's all I have for my report, and I'll move on to report from the Committee of the Whole Council. Committee of the Whole Council meeting February 10, 2026. Follow up, remember them presentation December 2nd, 2025. It is recommended to Council to purchase 6 of the smaller remember them poster to hang in the 3 fire halls and 3 municipal buildings.
Do we have a mover for this motion? Moved by Councillor Jekyll. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Nickerson. Any further discussion on this motion? Just for the sake of our viewing audience, we did have somebody in presenting portraits of veterans of, I think, the 3 wars, or was it the 3 wars and of the last century. And what we've decided to do is buy posters that we're going to hang in fire halls, municipal buildings, honoring the lives of. I'm quite sure that the ones that are featured on the posters are those who offered the supreme sacrifice. I think people who actually were they not?
Didn't come back.
Didn't come back. Yeah.
And their show.
Yeah, and they're Shelburne County. Yeah, within Shelburne County. So it's a good project. We can never forget those to whom we owe our freedom and our liberty in not only the municipality but across our nation. So any further discussion on this motion?
Question.
Questions being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. That motion has been carried unanimously. Go ahead, Councillor Jack.
Recreations and fundraising campaign. It is recommended to council to accept the revised proposal from BNP Enterprise Inspire, reflecting a fundraising goal of $1.5 million.
Okay, and so just before we vote on this again, did you want to just say a sentence or two about what this is about? Sometimes, yeah, people just like to know what.
Sure. So for the last number of weeks, as you're all aware, you've been discussing the possibility of initiating a fundraising campaign for the Recreation Center. And BNP Inspire is one company that has quite a bit of experience in doing this in Atlantic Canada and with municipalities. So they submitted a proposal with I think the original fundraising goal was 2.5 million. To the way that kind of in a short sentence I describe it is to purchase enhancements for the recreation center. Obviously it's going to be furnished and there's going to be equipment in there already, but it would be enhancement for now and into the future. So there are some, operational needs that we'll have throughout the life of the building, and that could also go towards that. So I think last month you requested a revised proposal with a smaller fundraising goal, which I think is more realistic for our municipality or this or kind of our area. And you consider that, and the recommendation that comes out of the February 10th committee, the whole meeting, is to accept that proposal. So that would actually initiate the fundraising campaign with BNP Inspire, which is like their consultants or their they have experience in that and help you through the process to reach your goal.
Thank you, Mr. Broughton. Do we have a mover for this motion?
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Warden Bazinet. Do we have a seconder for this motion? Seconded by Councillor Nickerson. Any further discussion on the motion before we vote on it? Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, nay.
Nay.
Okay, so we have Councillor Jekyll, Councillor Nickerson, Deputy Warden Bazinet, and myself, yay, and Councillor McKinnon is nay on that motion. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Jekyll.
We have the whole council meeting February 17, 2026. Merger of the MRRC and the CNOC. It is recommended to council to approve the merge of the Municipal Recruitment and Retention Committee with the Community Navigator Oversight Committee, and the solution of the Municipal Recruitment and Retention Committee.
Do we have a mover for this motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Deputy Warden Bazinet. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Nickerson. And Deputy Warden, do you want to just kind of explain again what this is for? I know you
Sure.
brought this motion forward.
Sure. So a longstanding committee of council has been the Medical Recruitment and Retention Committee, which is a committee that sort of directs and oversees recruitment of medical professionals in Yarmouth, down in this area. Operating simultaneously is the Community Navigator Oversight Committee, which is not a committee of council, but one in which the person who is the chair of the Medical Recruitment and Retention Committee sits on. So it became apparent that these two committees were comprised of exactly the same people with very few exceptions. And it also became clear as a result that both committees were redundant. So after a lot of work and a lot of brainstorming, the two committees have come up with a merged committee to more effectively participate in and oversee the recruitment efforts down in this area. The municipality contributes a fair amount of money, $15,000 a year, to this effort. So it's good that this committee will be a little bit more hands-on and have more sort of a direct oversight over what's happening down there.
Okay, thank you for that synopsis. So it relates again, we're always as municipal representatives interested in trying to recruit and retain doctors. There's probably no issue within our community that's more foundational to community health than having, primary health care providers. And of course, that's our physicians, not only within the municipality, but even within the tri-counties. So we're always trying to recruit doctors. If there's a doctor that comes even into the region, it helps every individual municipality as well because it takes the patient load off of some local doctors as well. So this has been moved, seconded. Any further discussion on this motion? Question being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. The motion has been carried unanimously. And Councillor Jekyll.
The same discussion, it is recommend to council that to appoint Deputy Warden Cynthia Bazinet as the municipality representative on the reconstituted Yarmouth and Area Medical Partnership Committee.
Okay, do we have a mover for that motion? Moved by Councillor Nicholson. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor McKinnon. Any further discussion on this motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. That motion has also been carried unanimously. Go ahead, Councillor Jekyll.
Draft memorandum of understanding, Barrington Farmers Market. It is recommended to council to approve the MOU with the Barrington's Farmers Market.
You have a mover for this motion. Moved by Councillor McKinnon, a seconder. Seconded by Councillor Nicholson. Just for the sake again, we basically are looking at a place for the farmers market and something that can be used more expansively than just farmers market. Kind of like, I guess what we were talking about, something along the lines of the Guild Hall in Shelburne, where there's outdoor festivals and events and where vendors can set up and social events can happen. So we're looking into working with the Barrington Area's farmers market to see if we can't implement or at least get funding and do some planning, designing, and move forward with that vision. And again, this is a memorandum of understanding, so it's not, as binding as some sort of a legal agreement. It's just basically that we've come to some sort of an agreement to move forward together on a vision that I think will greatly enhance, the social life and, of our community. So any further discussion on this motion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. The motion has been carried unanimously. Councillor Jekyll.
Arena canteen operation options. It is recommended council to operate the arena canteen through the third-party operator using either a lease or service agreement. So
Moved by Councillor Jekyll. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Deputy Warden Bazinet. And again, we're just looking for somebody to operate the arena. Go ahead, Councillor Jekyll. I didn't mean to
the
interrupt you.
question to the CEO.
Yeah.
If that motion that won't tie us, if a group of volunteer people come over to you and said they want to do this and they'll give you like good state, like we're gonna do it 5 days a week or 4 days a week or whatever it is, and the hours we're gonna open all the stuff. Are you willing to go that route, or are you gonna stick with this motion as we said it exactly?
So
Or
the
you
way,
bring back to council?
yeah, the way that this would be written would bind me into going to only in this direction. Now, it wouldn't stop you from considering a proposal from a volunteer group if that came to be, but I won't be pursuing volunteer groups nor the municipality running it. I'm going to be focusing on finding a third-party operator.
Like,
So the motion is just basically we had the three options: volunteer group, or that we run the canteen as a municipality, or that we contract it out to a third party operator. And through our discussion, that's how this motion came out of committee. So it's already been moved and seconded, right? Did you get the mover and the seconder, or? I think Councillor Jekyll moved it
Yes,
and Deputy Warden Bazinet
yeah.
seconded it. Any further discussion on this motion?
So just for a little more clarity, you're gonna go out and actively pursue, advertise for somebody to run the
Yes.
canteen, starting when?
We'll probably start fairly soon, just because we like to have time to get ourselves set up for the next year. Yeah,
So-
it sounds far away, but it is.
For starting next September
Yes, yeah,
is
That's
when
probably
you,
the
when you
plan.
want them in there, right?
Yeah.
The process will happen earlier.
yeah. Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah.
correct.
So in saying that, if there was an organization out there that wanted
Mhm.
to, a volunteer organization that wanted to come and run that canteen, and they came to you,
Mhm.
that would come forth to council, or would that be an option? And how would that,
If it was anything other than a third-party operator, I would have to be brought back to council, yeah, for
and you would do that
consideration. Yeah, I
in
would.
the process of
Yep.
it all too?
Yep.
Just to,
I-
in the event that there was somebody that
Yep.
done it, I don't know. I prefer that route because,
Mhm.
um,
Anything before, let's say, a lease or a service agreement was put in place, by then, at that time, you're kind of legally minded, to go that direction. But before then, if a volunteer group was interested, they could make a proposal or reach out to any of you or to me, and it would be brought back.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we discussed too when we put this forward. Like, I mean, if a solid, committed volunteer group came forward, I can't see council not entertaining that. Having said that, there's certain difficulties too that we get into with volunteers because they're not paid. There's not there are no contractual obligations, and we don't have the authority necessarily to direct volunteers the way we would somebody who has agreed to a contract or if it was municipal staff. But I think it's a great idea if we had a group of people that came forward that offered a level of volunteer service, comparable to what happened years ago with situations like this, then it would be optimal, wouldn't it? So, yeah, good. Any further discussion on this motion? Questions being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. That motion has been carried unanimously. Thank you, Councillor Jekyll, for bringing these motions forward from our committee of the whole meetings for this month. Going on to 5.4 now, which is our staff report. Excuse me, and I will turn it over to our CAO, Mr. Chris Rotten, to give his staff report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warren. So just a few items that might be of public interest. The first being the recreation center that some members have already referred to. So construction does continue to advance, not as quickly as we always would like, but it is advancing. We are hitting finally some key milestones now. So the building, power inspections, electrical inspections have been passed. We're starting to energize parts of the buildings in sequence. So that's exciting. The multipurpose room floor is slated to be it started to be installed this week. It was supposed to be today, but due to the weather, I think it'll be delayed for a bit later. And the final stages of the life safety systems are being installed and will hopefully be tested soon. And those are very complicated. There's a number of different contractors involved in those life safety systems, and they have to be all fully operational and then tested before we can get certain permits and approvals. So the building is slowly getting closer to occupancy, but we're still not confident enough in any schedules or timeframes to announce any open house, public opening, or grand opening dates until we really see some work being done, and then that is going to be the best assurance we have that it's ready. So that being said, municipal staff, the general contractor oversees the project and has ownership of that building until it's turned over to us. But that being said, municipal staff is there on site daily. We're monitoring construction. We're talking to the contractors and inspectors, and we're preparing for when it'll be open. And we're doing all that we can to make sure that it continues to move forward. Planning is underway for summer programs, and you might have seen the job postings for our summer staff has gone out. So it's always exciting. Having summer students and summer staff in the office in the municipality, it's kind of makes things more energetic. But so if there are any that are interested, anyone out there that's interested that or that the public knows, they're encouraged to apply. And March break activities have also been planned, so keep an eye out for that through our different social media channels and website and advertising methods. The Nova Scotia Lobster Crawl took place this month. Some of you attended the activities and more than likely saw some pictures or write-ups about it. Obviously, Lucy the Lobster's kind of Groundhog Day style event is a signature activity of the crawl, and we're really proud and excited always every year to host it. This year, Lucy's prediction was for spring to start early. I'm not sure that everyone feels that way, but hopefully Lucy will be right this year. We, as some of you has mentioned as well, are experiencing a particularly harsh winter this year, and as the Nova Scotia Power lines workers and also Nova Scotia Public Works staff have been out doing all that they can to clean streets and fix power lines. Our Department of Public Works has been doing the same. So, we've had a lot of snowfall, a lot of icy conditions, cold temperatures, and maintaining, clean and safe public spaces can be challenging at times. I acknowledge that it's not always perfect. And that department has been working tirelessly, putting in extremely long hours overnight to make sure that whether it's roads or sidewalks or municipal parking areas or anything like that is kept up as best as we can. So if there are, that being said, there are always, breakdowns or delays and things, and some residents might have questions or concerns or comments. They can always reach out through you to the municipality, the municipal office, or go directly on our website or phone us or send us an email. There's a few ways to get a hold of us. Finally, the province there was a media release today about the modernization of fire services in the province. So this has been something I've mentioned a few times during Committee of the Whole. You've received numerous emails about it through NSFM. But now that it has been presented to the legislature, and there will likely be more media exposure on it. So really what it is, just for the public's sake and as a reminder to you, is the modernization of municipal fire services in the province. Now, municipalities may provide that service. We will now be mandated to provide them in the updated legislation. But it's looking to change the governance and oversight in municipalities of fire services and include things like training standards, municipal oversight of financial management of the fire services, and practice the way that they operate their fire departments, like themselves, like individually, and then also how it fits within the overall organizational structure of municipalities. So for us, we are very fortunate because we've been working for decades now on advancing and modernizing our own municipal fire service, that we shouldn't see too many big changes to our fire departments and our fire services. That being said, it's still nothing's been adopted yet. Regulations haven't been developed. So until that happens, we don't know exactly what it will look like. But given what we've heard and what we've read and the engagement we've had from the province, it doesn't seem like it should affect us too much. There might be some governance changes or updates that we might have to make around how the fire departments fit in our organizational structure. So right now, each department are their own entity. We are fortunate to have a municipal fire services coordinator, so we have a liaison, a really close relationship with the fire departments. That's not the case in every municipality or town. So the province is looking at kind of embedding municipal fire services, even though they're volunteer, within each municipality and town. So there's obviously different changes that would have to happen for that to take place. But anyway, that's the work that'll be ongoing from now until it's adopted. And then there's always my capital project update and strategic plan update at the end, but I have nothing to update or add.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for our CAO regarding the staff report? Councillor McKinnon.
I actually did. Is that, in your kind of skip from one thing to the other around the permits and the total construction value? Seems to be a substantial decrease from last year. Represents a $695,000 decrease.
Oh,
Same period last year. Do you know what I'm talking about now?
Yeah, in the building permits. Sorry.
Yeah.
It is substantial. We do see that fluctuates quite a bit year after year. Last year, so we were on record-breaking years from 2019 or 20 to last year. Last year, we saw a significant reduction in construction values in the municipality, but it's still, if you look pre-COVID, that COVID stage was an anomaly, really. If you look at the history of the municipality, we're still on a steady incline. So you'll likely see that say decrease for the next year or year and a half until it catches up back to what's, I would say, normal in terms of construction values. Our development office did say that this February was a slow month, but that they are still meeting quite a bit with developers and with individuals who are interested in building, once the spring hits. It is a very harsh winter, so that stalls a lot of the construction projects too. And we are still fortunate to see a lot of housing developers reach out to the municipality and to kind of look at starting the process. So that's positive. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Any further questions for our CAO? If not, we're moving into item 6.1, and this is consideration on our policy number 42 in the municipality of Barrington. Of course, we have a lot of community nonprofit organizations who are doing a lot in our community to kind of keep the lifeblood of our community flowing. And in the day and age where volunteers are going the way of the dodo bird, it's very important that we support community organizations. So this policy relates to the grants that we give to cemetery clubs and to other organizations that serve community good and well-being. And so this is the consideration of this, and there's some changes that we've made to the amount for grants and some other changes as well. And I'll turn it over to our CAO, Mr. Broughton, to maybe go over hit some of the highlights of what we're voting on in consideration of this policy.
So first, you summarized the first change perfectly, which is that you are increasing the first category of our grants from $500 to $750. So that would be the maximum amount that you could provide in that category. There's one housekeeping amendment on that same page, on page 2, which is to remove that an advertisement will be placed in the local newspaper for 2 issues or on social media each year, informing organizations of the opportunity to apply for a municipal grant. And we also have to put the list of grants. And that's because the MGA now allows us to do that through social media, but it's mandated by the province, and it explicitly says how, so we don't have to put that in our policy. Then in terms of the way that organizations request grants for $750 or below has changed. It'll follow the process similar to our tax exemption bylaw, which is that organizations will request to be added to a list, it's a schedule. Now the policies.
Schedule D.
Schedule D, yes. And once they're added on that list, it'll kind of automatically provide them the grant that they request below 750 without needing to come back to council. So it's just a little bit of a streamlined process for that grant category because that's the largest, as you can see, there are 37 organizations on the list now in that schedule. That's the largest grant requests we get, like category that we get. And due to its more minimal amount, you felt that it was just more streamlined, more efficient to do it this way. So what will happen is they request to be on the list. If they're on the list, they still have to submit an application. But once the application submitted, it would be cross-referenced with that list. If they're on the list, then that grant amount would be provided to them without coming to council for kind of double approval, I guess, final approval.
So the accountability is there in that situation, like in terms of their financials and things like that. They provide those.
Yeah. So the application process stays the same. It's just that approval process that changes a bit. And if they are not on the list, it comes to you for consideration. So because they're not on the list doesn't mean they're rejected. It just means that there's not that automatic approval that other organizations might get. And then there are a few new clauses in the special events grant category, and it's more around how applicants are to apply and a little bit more around the deadline. So we've it was a little vague the way that it was worded, so we expanded it to hopefully clarify that whole process. And now applications for special event grants are still requested to be submitted by December 1st for consideration for the next fiscal year. And that's to allow you time during your budget process to incorporate any larger grant amounts for special events into your budget. However, applicants for applications for special event grants will still be considered after December 1st. So if an organization comes on January 25th with an application, it will still be presented to you, but for consideration. Obviously that the approval of that will be contingent on budgets and such. And I think that covers all of the amendments that are being proposed tonight to that policy.
Perfect. So do we have a motion? We're considering this tonight. So do we have a motion to adopt the changes in this policy? Moved by Councillor Nickerson. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor McKinnon. Any further discussion on the grants to organizations policy amendments? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. The motion has been carried unanimously, and that brings us on to the next bylaw amendment situation. It's bylaw 40, and this is first reading. It's a bylaw with respect to the maintenance and improvement of the Barrington Lake Road. Would you like to say a few words, Ms. Prom? We're just, this is first reading, so we're not actually voting on this tonight? Okay.
Yep, that's correct. So the amendment process of a bylaw is a little different than a policy. A bylaw, you consider it, you give it first reading, and then a notice is published to the public for a public hearing before you consider second reading. And then so once you have that public hearing, you consider any comments or feedback. You have a second reading, and then at that time you can approve it officially. So this is the first reading of amendments to bylaw number 40, which is the bylaw in relation to the maintenance and improvement of the Barrington Lake Road. There are very few changes, and the amendment that's being proposed is to increase the charge, the fee in the charge area from $150 to $200 per property. And so it's invoiced or billed twice a year, so it would be $100 per bill. And this increase is in response to a request from the Barrington Lake Road Association. So this bylaw, although we collect the funds, that's really all our involvement in it, because this bylaw kind of describes what the fee is and what it's used for and how it is charged, but it's the Barrington Lake Road Association that oversees the use of the funds, and kind of decides all of that. So that is what is being proposed tonight for the bylaw amendments.
We don't vote on that tonight, or
you have to kind of officially give first reading to the bylaw. That's
Okay.
how the motion is worded.
that's
Yeah.
how the motion. Okay. So do we have a mover to accept this first reading to the bylaw?
So moved.
It's moved by Deputy Warden Bezanet, seconded by Councillor McKinnon. Any further discussion on this motion? Questions being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. The motion's been carried unanimously, and now we move into our last item on the agenda, which is a letter regarding Nova Scotia power rates. Did you want to say something about this, or is it just on there for our information?
Just on there for information, any type of correspondence we receive from other municipal units or the province in relation to anything that is of municipal interest to the municipality of Barrington gets added on the agenda under correspondence. So this was a letter that we received from the municipality of the County Antigonish relating to Nova Scotia Power's rate applications, and that's why it's there. So it's more so for information unless you wanted to act on it for any reason.
Okay. Any further, Councillor Nickerson?
So I've always thought this, I've never ever said it at a public meeting, but I just might as well tonight. So Nova Scotia Power is a publicly traded company. So my question is to whoever may answer it. Will our rates ever go down, or are we just looking at the shareholders of Nova Scotia Power making more money? Which in turn is going to continue to drive our rates up. So in reading this letter, they're saying they want to put a 5-year freeze on, and Nova Scotia Power is applied to the Nova Scotia Energy Board for a 3.8% increase in 2026 and a 4.1% increase in 2027. That's 8% over 2 years. if I'm correct in saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they want to put a freeze on that. They want to put a freeze, or Annie Ganesh wants to request that the province or the Nova Scotia Energy Board freeze all power increases for 5 years. If I'm reading that letter correctly, you guys got that out of that too, right? So I'm just wondering, and I don't know, I haven't had a lot of time to absorb this, and I haven't really sat down and thought about it, but as long as something's publicly traded, if we think we're gonna save money for our residents, I don't think we're ever gonna save money for our residents, because if I have shares in Nova Scotia Power and I made 10% this year and 5% next year, I know what I'm gonna be doing. I'm probably gonna, or if it was a trending down and not making as much money, I'm probably gonna sell my shares and invest it in somewhere else. So they're suggesting that, I think they are suggesting that, having reviewed the GRA and made, I'm just gonna try to find this. Ability to application, no, that isn't what I wanna go.
Are you thinking that we should send a letter and endorse?
Well, I'm not sure. I would like to see this come back to, I'd like to think about it and ask some, like, try to dig up some information on this. Because I don't know, they're suggesting that it'd be a nonprofit, I think, or the province take it over or something. Did I read that in there somewhere? I'm sure it,
He's an investigator. That's all I can.
Public ownership, yeah.
the public
private
ownership.
Well, see, it was a public utility at one time, right? And they privatized it, right?
Nova Scotia Power?
Isn't,
Yeah.
They always
Yes.
used to be public.
it used to be a public utility and now they privatized it. And this is the problem that they're writing about. We need some intervention to prevent the increase in rates because it's more business driven or, capitalistically driven rather than, and yet it's it's a basic need, right? Like it's like, that's why bread prices and egg prices are fixed, right? Everybody needs essentials and they have to be regulated so that, human beings aren't being preyed upon for things that are necessities. And so, do you want to put it on an agenda or would you like to make a motion that we
I'd
just?
like to,
support it?
I don't wanna go and
Yeah.
make a motion here tonight, but I'd
Okay.
like it to come back in
Yeah.
a couple months or a month or a couple months, if whatever, whenever you wanna put it on, like, I'd like to. I'm gonna ask some questions.
Does anybody have any objections to putting this on a future committee of the whole meeting for further discussion?
Cause I do
Hearing-
think it's worthy of discussion.
Yep.
Especially when they wanna tack on another.
Yep.
8% and they're saying this is to cover, capital costs too, right? So that,
And see, that's the other thing. There's sometimes pressure put on them to trim or to trim, trees and things like that. I'm sorry, Deputy Warden, you had your hand up.
Yeah.
Were you finished, Councillor Nixon?
Yeah.
Okay, Deputy
Just
Warden.
wonder if we know NSFM has an official
Stan,
stance on this. Perhaps the
that information would be helpful.
either on Nova Scotia Power becoming public utility again, or anything other than, just gee, we condemn rate increases.
Councillor Jekyll.
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't want to wait too long either because I mean,
Yeah.
we don't want to. I think we want to act on it. Like we don't want to wait 2 months. I think we should. I think the warden here that they make the municipality of initially make good sense of it. I mean, if we want to create a letter by next month, send it to the Nova Scotia government, like say it's similar to this. I think I will support something like that because I mean. We all see the impact on our residents across the province.
Maybe in the meantime, it might be, would anybody object if our CEO just sent either an email or something recognizing the letter and that came forward and that we are going to put it on, a future agenda, because it might be that the municipality of Antigonish might send us, a little bit of more information. And maybe that information could actually be requested, or like, was there information, that they base some of their decision on in terms of, writing this letter. And if we could be invited into some of the process that they went through to arrive at writing this letter, then it might help us be caught up to speed in the way that Councillor Nicholson's suggesting that we should be, and then decide if we want to take any action from there. Any objections to that direction then? Hearing none, that brings us to the end of our agenda for tonight. I want to thank all of you in our viewing audience for being here. Good night, Mum. And the meeting was so expeditious tonight that maybe you should be calling my mum and having her to check in on these meetings more often. I even behave myself. So thank you all for coming, and hopefully the family situation that our clerk Debbie Mater's attending to will resolve itself in a favorable way as well. So this meeting is now adjourned.